So this is out. Is this worth your money compared to these? I guess we'll have to find out. Stay tuned. What's going on, guys? Ted from Immersion here, and I am going to attempt to do a review of Tyranny of Dragons. This is a recently released $49.95 special edition book that you can get at friendly local game stores. It's got sweet Hydro 74 cover art. I mean, the book looks amazing, at the very least. I do enjoy having the collector's editions of all these books because I am a nerd and I like to do that. So just as a comparison on the price point right up front, $49.95 for one book. Rise of Tiamat was $29.95, and Hoard of the Dragon Queen was also $29.95. So, in theory, you're saving some money by picking up one book with both adventures. However, as we all know, if you buy them on Amazon, you'll get them both cheaper. So, what did Wizards of the Coast say when they released this? It says, 2 adventures, Hoard of the Dragon Queen and Rise of Tiamat, are bound together with a fresh new cover. That's accurate. Features concept art providing insight into the creative process when crafting the fantastical adventure. I would agree. If you like concept art, then this may be the book for you. It's honestly probably the best part about it. And then it says complete with errata and reworked opening chapter. So errata is great. There was a ton of stuff wrong with these 2 books. There were a ton of things that were held over from D&D Next playtest that made it into the books that's just not a thing. For example, there's a bunch of stuff in Hoard of the Dragon Queen where it states that like the enemy cultists their readiness level is high. That's not a thing that exists in 5th edition. It meant to say that they couldn't be surprised. But that was a method of the way D&D playtest worked. There's a bunch of other stupid stuff, like one of the ropers can talk. They don't have that in the original book. Someone has a whole bunch of spells, and there's extra spell books and stuff that they just don't add. So they fixed a lot of that with the errata. So getting that in one book with the most up-to-date version is great. That's a good thing. But then they have this, what they're calling the reworked opening chapter. And for the life of me, spent a ton of time trying to figure out what that was to see where this drastically reworked opening chapter is. And I'll be honest with you, it's not really that noticeable, and it's really hard to find. So, I wish I could show you this in D&D Beyond, but I can't seem to find it anywhere there either. So the first chapter is the campaign overview. And at first I was like, oh, that must be it, right? It must be reworked to give us a nice walkthrough, kind of like the nice trees that we got in the later ones where it'll show you all the different stuff. No. The only thing I can see is that it references Tyranny of Dragons a lot. So obviously I can't showcase this to you because it's both books, but I sat here poring over both books, and it just makes a couple of different references. So, for example, at the start it says that this combines both books. The adventure is designed for a party of 4 to 6 first-level characters, and you should advance to approximately 15 by the time you reach the final showdown. In Hoard of the Dragon Queen, if you look, it looks the same. It looks the same here. But what it states is, also, I will say the paper quality in the new book seems real. The paper is really thick and tactile. They did say, here it references going to 7th or 8th. Here it obviously references going to 15. Tyranny of Dragons tells the complete tale previously presented in both books, the result of the collaboration with Cobalt Press. Now, years later, these adventures remain fan favorites. Within these pages, you'll find both woven together into a complete campaign. While the original adventures remain as their own distinct sections, Tyranny of Dragons accounts for the feedback of thousands of Dungeons & Dragons players. You'll find a revised campaign-spanning overview, which is not really true, as well as compiled appendices that collect the characters, magic items, and monsters from both adventures into a comprehensive reference. Additionally, an entirely new concept art gallery has been added. So that's something. There's Hoard of the Dragon Queen and Rise of Tiamat armored among the first products. See, it also says an online supplement for these adventures can be found at dungeonsanddragons.com, which I thought was interesting than wizards.com. So it references it here too. It says you can play these adventures in the original book. The Tyranny of Dragons appendix. So you would think you could easily find that, and it's not easily findable, right? So here, let me go real quick to this is Wizards of the Coast. So here's a Tyranny of Dragons reprint. You would think that the appendices that they're referencing would be on this page, but it's not. It's nowhere to be found. You have to go and search Hoard of the Dragon Queen or look up Hoard of the Dragon Queen, and then you can find the supplement. It's not easily findable. So yeah, let's go product. I don't even see that this is a problem. Tabletop RPGs. Okay. We want to go date old to new. And that didn't actually... Okay, come on, guys. Why is this so hard to find? Hoard of the Dragon Queen. Then from within the Hoard of the Dragon Queen, here is the errata right here. So you can get that. And here is your online supplement. Okay? Not very easily findable. And let's go check if we go to Rise of Tiamat. Is it listed in here? So here is a council scorecard and the online statistics. That's listed there. But, you know, I thought that it was going to be nice and easy, and I thought this was going to be a super easy review. I would just say, oh, Tyranny of Dragons. I would just learn more here, and then I'd have it so I could just walk through it with you guys, but it's not there. You have to go look for it. Again, not the biggest gripe, and, you know, it's kind of a nitpick, but you'd think if they're referencing it in the book and you wanted it, it would be where it was. So, I don't know. Okay. So I was reading through, and it has running the adventure here, and it kind of just tells you a little bit about how to do it. And I thought like I was going to get a really like robust overview that was going to be completely different. But when I look through this, as far as I can tell, all it is the introductory chapter from, and it's not even really a chapter, the introductory section of Hoard of the Dragon Queen, immediately followed by the introductory section of Rise of Tiamat, just both in the same book. So it's not a total reworked chapter. They just put, rather than it being all of Hoard of the Dragon Queen followed by all of Rise of Tiamat, they just took them both and put them in the same place, right? So if I just do a quick read, this is Hoard of the Dragon Queen. Background, dragon masks, secrets, cult organization, overview, and then it rolls into the adventure, okay? Background, dragon masks, secrets, cult organization, overview, Rise of Tiamat. Okay, then it just jumps right into that. So I was like, oh, cool, it's going to give me a nice breakdown. But if I look through the Rise of Tiamat section in the front, background, secrets, allied forces. Background, secrets, allied forces. There's a section here about dragon masks, but that's just already covered on the other page in case you don't have Hoard of the Dragon Queen. Then you flip the next page, and it goes into the overview and the stages, right? Like here's stage 1, First Council of Waterdeep, Varum the White, Sea of Moving Ice, Cult Strikes Back. All I can tell is the complete rework, if this is indeed the complete rework, is they just changed the way it looks. So if you look here, it's stage 1 right over here. You can see all the different, how it's bolded there. And it's got like the underline, and it says outline of episodes at the top. Here, it just says outline, and then has no underline under the stages. Obviously, they did do the right thing, like renaming the chapters accordingly to match what's in the book, renaming the appendices to match what's in the book, right? Like in Hoard of the Dragon, or Rise of Tiamat, it says episode, it goes through the advancement, episode 3, 2, 5, 4, 5, 7, 8, 5. Here it's 11, 10, 13, 12, 13, 15, 16, 13, because the chapters are later after Hoard of the Dragon Queen. But then as you go through it, all the additional encounters are the same. It talks a little bit about the Cult of the Dragon. I checked every, I mean, I didn't read through it perfectly, but all of the major headings and all of kind of the bolded text for like the Harpers, right? There's the ally section. It's the same, right? I mean, it's all here. Nothing is different. It's okay. Here's the section on giants and using the giants. That's right at the top of this page. So this, like, don't let that fool you that toting that this is like a completely reworked chapter. It is literally They just moved one to the front. So then I thought to myself, maybe I'm misunderstanding. Maybe because that's not technically a chapter, maybe it means chapter 1, the greenest. Which, if you've played through the game, you would know that greenest, the opening chapter here, greenest in flames, is one of the most, or it isn't. I've played through it and I've run it, but a lot of people touted it as being one of the most brutal and deadly parts of a pre-written campaign, because the way it's written, you're supposed to get into encounter after encounter after encounter with little to no break, no long rest, no short rest. All right, so that's part of it. Or if you take a short rest, you can't participate in other parts of it, therefore not gaining experience. So I did find some very, very minute differences, enough to possibly consider it a rework. So I did take a ton of time. I'm comparing the two books. I didn't compare this book with the errata to see if maybe some of the stuff, the differences that I saw was literally just the errata, which could be the case. Like, I see there's a lot less kobolds you fight in this book. For example, Seek the Keep is 8 kobolds in the original book, and it's 7 kobolds in this book. Now, that could have been, maybe I'll just check it right here, maybe the errata fixes that, and that could be why, right? So they're just going to errata it away, and then it's not really a complete rework. I'm just reading the not up-to-date information. So I'm going to check that in the meantime. Chapter 1, no. Okay, so that was something. Since the errata, the rework is they've lessened the amount of kobolds. And I think there is one more thing that happens here. Let me get to it. Where is it? It is... So again, the overall number of kobolds, they do seem to increase the number of cultists and acolytes that you find. Aha, here it is. So, normally, you play through all of Chapter 1, which is an encounter before you kind of get into the city. Then the Old Tunnel is 2, the Sally Port is 3, the Dragon Attack is 4, Prisoners is 5, Save the Mill is 6, Sanctuary is 7, and the Half Dragon encounter, that's theoretically 8 encounters before you can get a long rest. Also, 8 encounters before you level up. So if you play it as written, you do that entire, and use the milestone system, which they sort of recommend, you do that entire set of encounters at level 1. They change that in here in that you hit level 2 much sooner. So that's one thing I can find. So normally you have your opening encounter where you're kind of rescuing Linen Swift and her husband from kobolds and cultists and one one flying kobold. And in the original book it says rewards. Besides earning experience points for raiders fought on the way to the keep, characters earn a bonus of 50 experience points per non-player character brought into the keep alive. Divide this bonus equally among the party members. Here, it says, besides earning experience points for raiders fought on the way to the keep, it says all of that. Divide this bonus equally. Alternatively, if you're using the milestone experience rule, the characters reach 2nd level once they arrive to the keep. Therefore, you're starting at 2nd level once you kind of enter the keep, so you're already boosted before you have to go through the remaining 7 encounters. So that's a big boon, but I would stress that is not a complete rework of the opening encounter. Let's see. Was there anything else that I remember finding? Make your way into the keep. Nothing here. Night Hall. I was just trying to see if I thought the governor did something else here. Here it is. After the dragon attack, so the dragon attack, again, I guess spoilers if you haven't played this 5-year-old module. Here's what you get if you... It's really dumb. I'm not a huge fan of it, but basically you're supposed to attack a blue dragon that's attacking the town, do enough damage to it to drive it away, and you get experience point for every villager that doesn't die, essentially. So it says originally, characters earn 50 XP for driving away Lenithon, that's the dragon. but reduce that reward by 25 XP if 10 or more defenders were killed during the attack. Here it says characters earn fixed the XP for driving away Lenathon and reduce that the same amount. But here's the new part. For their role in driving off the dragon, the characters receive 4 potions of healing from the Grateful Governor Nighthill, rather. So you would start at level 2 as soon as you enter the keep. If you manage to make it to the 3rd encounter, which would be more doable at level 2, right? Some like your druid and your wizard are gonna get choose their school, right, or their circle. So that's gonna help them a little bit. And if you beat the dragon away, you're gonna get 4 potions of healing, which again is gonna give you a little more survivability. Again, reading through, just trying to see if I catch anything else that really jumped out at me. Nothing really did. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. You are still supposed to start chapter 2 as level 2 adventurers. You just have more time at level 2. And again, that's supposedly the opening chapter, right? That's the rework of the opening chapter. So let me flip ahead and just see at the end of chapter 2, does it say to go to level 3? Yeah. If you're using the milestone and experience rule, your characters reach level 3 when they complete this chapter. So that's it, guys. You got a couple less kobolds to fight. You start at level 2 a little bit earlier, and the governor will give you 4 healing potions. And they took the front chapter of Rise of Tiamat and put it in the front. Is it worth your money to buy these again if you have the original? I mean, maybe if you want the cool cover art. It's a pretty cool looking book. I mean, the back's got the symbol of the Cult of the Dragon. And this is something in Draconic that I don't know what it says. It's a cool looking book to have. It looks good on the shelf. The spine looks cool. It's Hydro 74 does amazing art. I'd actually get this in a print and like hang this up. I think this is really cool. Obviously I have a lot of nostalgia for this. It's the first time I got to be a player in Dungeons and Dragons for like 10 years when this came out. It's the first experience I had with a campaign in a long time. The first experience in 5th edition. It's also one of the best campaigns that I've ran for my players, but the reason that I did so well and I enjoyed it so much when I ran it is because I played through it and dealt with it. If you know anything about the Caravan chapter in Hoard of the Dragon Queen, it's exactly the same. They did not cut any of that stuff out. It's all in there exactly as it was. I don't know if I can actually actively recommend this to you. I don't know if it's worth your money to go out and buy it, other than to have it as a collector's piece. But if you're hinging on the reworked first chapter, don't hold your breath. It's nothing to cry home about. Maybe I missed something because I didn't literally pour through each page individually, one by one, read every single tiny thing. I just went through and looked at the reward sections pretty much to see if anything jumped out, and noticed right off the bat a couple of encounters there were less kobolds. But again, that's not contained in the errata, so if you still have this version and you want to get what's in this one, you still have to buy this unless they plan to update the errata in the future, or it's in that mythical supplement that I couldn't find, that wasn't easy to find, maybe. That's not the one that I clicked on that I showed you in the video. Anyway, guys, sorry it was a little bit ranty. I just was really hoping for a lot more. Oh, I guess I can just showcase a little bit of the stuff right in the back. Like, here's some of the concept art. Looks really cool. They have a lot of different stuff about the different cultists. Here's like the dragon masks, the different outfits for the different cultists. You know, here's some red wizards, some sweet dragon looking art, right? I mean, look at that. That's pretty badass stuff. There's the murder of one of the Lords of Waterdeep for the start of there's Lenathon attacking the castle of Greenest. Some cool like comic style art of some dragon fights with some cultists down the bottom there. And they do actually have a really cool section in here that's like showcasing different like stuff that I would put in a Draconomicon for 5e if that existed. But yeah. Anyway, guys, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more stuff like this. Let me know what you think. Did you pick up a copy of this for yourself? Are you thrilled? Were you really keen on finding out what was different in that intro chapter, and then kind of like me where there's not really anything? Let me know. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.